Okay, sometimes when you get projectile questions, you might feel that the information they give you is very vague and you have to work out then, well, what else do I know to answer this question? So this one's kind of looking at an object starting on the ground, and it could be thrown or kicked or whatever in the air, and it lands on the same level. So if it starts on the ground, it lands on the ground, just obviously at a different place. And they might ask you to find the total time of the object's flight, so how long it takes to get from this point here on the ground to this point over here. And in this question, they may only tell you one thing. They might only tell you the initial starting velocity u. As we can see, this is starting at an angle. I've just made an angle up just to make my life easy. And this is my initial velocity. And they haven't told us anything else. But you do know something. So you know whenever an object is travelling up, for a brief second, a very short amount of time, it has to stop so that I can change direction and come back down. So we know at this point here, my final velocity v is going to be 0. So I'm going to write that down there. So this is to maximum height. We're going to look at max height first. It's moving up, so if it's starting with an initial velocity and then that velocity turns to 0, it's obviously slowing down, it's decelerating. So when an object is moving up, its acceleration due to gravity is minus 9.81. Okay, so we have three things we want to find t. So we actually know an equation of motion that involves all of these. So I'm going to use v is equal to u plus at. So I like to sort of rearrange my equations before I put in numbers. So at the minute I want to find t. T is been multiplied by a and u is added on to that. So I want to get rid of this bit first because it's easy. So it's been added on. To get rid of an add, we take it away. So if I take u away from both sides, I will get v minus u, and that's going to cancel out. So that's going to equal to at. But again, t has been multiplied by a. To get rid of the multiply, we're going to have to divide everything by a. So when I divide by a, we're going to get v minus u over a is equal to t. So again, we're just going to put in a number. So it's 0, take away 15 sine 30. Well, sine 30 is equal to a half, so this is going to be 7.5 meters per second. So it's 0 take away 7.5, divide that by minus 9.81. So your negative sign here is important because it means these two are going to cancel out because you can't get a negative time. And we're going to get a value of 0.76 seconds. Okay? Now, because the object, as I said, it starts and ends on the ground, what you have to do is find the total time. So the minute we've only found the time to this max height. And to get to here, t is 0.76 seconds. So to find the total flight time, you do the time to max height and we multiply it by 2. Because if it takes 0.7 seconds to get up here, it's going to take the same amount of time for it to go back down to the ground. So it's going to be simply 0.76 times 2, and that's going to give us a value of 1.52 seconds. And that is your answer. The total flight time of an object when it starts and moves, starts and lands in the same place, same level, it's just the time, the maximum height, and you multiply it by 2.